Today we are going to be making a sort of katana type curved sword. It's a standard long sword type design, but I've decided, throw in a little bit of an extra, show you how to get a curve to it. And this is basically your standard Dahogrian long sword design, more for your two-handed weapons. Not so great when fighting with a shield, but a nice balanced, relatively lightweight weapon, your standard Dahoga type sword design. So check out the video and let's get you making. Alright, so I'm starting off with my flat table-like surface and our high pressure PVC pipe, a hollow pool noodle, duct tape. I always like to use black duct tape, some contact adhesive, and then of course we're going to use an ET cutter or craft knife, a pair of scissors, and then we're also going to use a bit of 1 centimeter camping mat foam. You'll see I'll use it for a few things, and a piece of scrap fake leather. And as a little additional, we've got a heat gun. The heat gun is only really there to speed up the drying process and to curve the sword. So the first thing I'm doing is just heating up that PVC pipe to make it soft. And as it cools, I'll bend it into shape and let it cool into that shape, and that gives me that ever so slight curve. Of course, if you are not making a curved sword or you don't have a heat gun, don't stress. The only purpose for it is to give that sword that slight curve like that. Then the next thing I do is I take a small square of that camping mat and I just put it at the tip. The reason I put it at that tip is it's going to secure that pool noodle so it doesn't fly off your shaft that then later use on your sword. And also it's protecting your opponents from the toughest striking part of that sword. You just want those tips a little bit extra padded because the PVC can eventually chew through the foam. Now once I've secured that hollow pool noodle onto that, I'm just making a little boss for the sword. And something I just want to mention with regards to the PVC. You can use standard PVC, but it is very likely going to break in use. For that reason, I like to use high pressure plumbing PVC. It significantly increases the lifespan of your sword. Now for your broader swords, you are going to want to add this little edge over there. I cut the pool noodle into quarters or eighths, and then I just make a little edge along the sword. You see me doing that there. Not only does it stop your sword from looking like a club, it also just increases the safety lifespan of your sword. Of course, if I was doing a long sword or your broadsword type, I do that along both striking edges, but because it is a curved sword, I was going through that more katana type look. I was just doing that edge along that one side. Now you pay careful attention to what I'm doing with the duct tape here. I'm not squishing the duct tape around the foam. I'm gently putting it on and gently firmly pressing it on. If I was to press that duct tape pretty hard onto the foam and sort of pull it really tight, unfortunately it reduces the padded integrity and the lifespan of that sword. As a final point, I'm going to point out that between the interior PVC core of your sword and the tip of your sword, you need about 3 finger spans of foam, just so that the tip of your sword doesn't accidentally disembowel someone. And then if it's longer than 4 finger bits, then unfortunately the tip is going to break off if you accidentally strike someone. So we figured out that 3 finger widths is your ideal one. And as a final touch here, I'm using a little bit of fake leather to make a handle. The fake leather is not a necessity, it just is a slightly more comfortable handle and looks cool and doesn't look like you're waving around a solid chunk of foam and PVC and duct tape, which actually is a little bit of style and class, really. We can dream. And there it is. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Please, alright, and there you have it. Have fun.